Hey babies, welcome back to another Affinity video. Today we've got a bunch of changes to the deck. I'm playing 2 copies of Patchwork Automaton over Mirror Enforcers. The Ward 2's been really nice, especially against Leyline Binding decks. I'm playing a main deck Haywire Might and 2 copies in the sideboard over the Hurkyl's Recalls, along with switching over to the green and blue bridges instead of the Izzet bridges. It's been really nice against Urza Saga decks, but it also comes up against Leyline Binding, Fable the Mirror Breaker, stuff like that. And I'm playing 2 copies of Soulless Jailer in the sideboard, which both hates on graveyards and Cascade decks, which is really nice. It gives us some more things to bring in against Footfalls, where before I would only bring in the Metallic Rebukes and it didn't feel like we had much hate for them. And even though it's a 0/4, since it doesn't have Defender, we can put a Cranial Plating on it and go attacking. I piloted this exact 75 for the first time just last weekend at SCGCon Charlotte. By the way, shout out to Jordan. It was really cool meeting somebody that knew me from the channel there. And I've already got a 5-0 with it, and I'm pretty satisfied with this list. So let's get into the games. Alright, round 1 with Affinity. We won the die roll, so we're going to take the play. Let's see. 2 tap lands, that's not the best, but we have Thoughtcast, we have a little bit to do. 1 Misvault Bridge, turn 2. Aether Spellbomb, Ornithopter, Thoughtcast eventually. It's a little mid, but I'll keep it. We have some threats, we have some draw. It's pretty much what you're looking for. Opponent keeps their hand, we're gonna go Misvault Bridge, go. Opponent plays Swamp, Thoughtseize, okay. That's probably Thoughtcast, I assume, that we're gonna lose. They could take Sojourner's Companion, but I don't really think that that's gonna happen. They do take Sojourner's Companion, interesting, alright. We draw Thought Monitor, that's nice to have. Let's just go Aether Spellbomb, pass. Not running out the Ornithopter so that we don't just get it removed before we get to cast our Affinity spells with it. Opponent plays a second Swamp, are they playing Mono Black maybe? They play a second Thoughtseize. I'm not sure what our opponent's playing. They take Thought Monitor, that definitely makes sense. Well, we draw another one. Let's go ahead and play Frogmite. Thoughtcast. I might be able to cast Thought Monitor too. I'm not. Let's just go Relic. Go ahead and Relic you. Pass the turn. Our opponent could be playing something weird like Mono Black 8-Rack or something like that. It could also still be a scam deck maybe. It could be one of the Cabal's Coffers Mono Black decks. Field of Ruin, that makes it look like Coffers to me. And March of Wretched Sorrow. Alright, we're definitely playing against the Coffers Mono Black deck, so we have to worry about Karn the Great Creator coming down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thought Monitor. Urza Saga Cranial Plating. Okay. Well, we definitely have threats. If they play KGC this turn, we have enough damage to kill it, and we'll see what happens from there. Opponent plays Besage You, the one that doesn't see so much play. Field of Ruins or Urza Saga makes sense. I think they're playing the new Field of Ruin too. I've seen one Cabal Coffer Mono Black deck since then. I forget what it's called, but there's a Field of Ruin that doesn't say each player, it just says that player and you. So it's a little bit better in Commander, since Field of Ruin ramps the players that aren't affected by it, which is very unfortunate. Bloodchief's Thirst on Ornithopter. Alright, that doesn't matter. Let's see, opponent's at 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 14 damage right now. Let's go ahead and pop Relic. Draw a card, see what we get. Tap land, not super great. Let's put Plating onto Ornithopter. Go to combat. Attack for a bunch. Opponent's at 3. Is it worth spellbombing my Thought Monitor to draw more cards here? I don't really think so. I'd rather keep it for removal in case that becomes relevant, but I think they're gonna just die because that Besage You has to cost 2 life to tap. Yeah, okay. Alright, so against this deck we want Metallic Rebukes, we want Pithing Needle, and let's cut Relics since I don't think they're gonna do anything for us. Let's cut Haywire Might's kinda iffy. Shadow Spear I don't think does anything. Aether Spellbomb's good. I think I cut Nettle Cyst. Do I keep the Haywire Might or get rid of it? I think I cut the Haywire Might. I'd rather not cut any of the cast effects, and I'd rather not cut Patchies here. Or Ginger Brute, since haste could be nice. If we go to game 3 and they see the Ginger Brute in game 2, I'll probably cut it and replace it with Haywire Might though, since Ginger Brute's main ability is being surprising. We have double Cranial Plating, Springleaf Drum, double Memnite, and 2 untapped artifact lands. Let's keep. We don't have a big Affinity payoff yet, but we have double Cranial Plating, which is very threatening. And if we find a Thought Cast, we can play it very quickly. And they didn't Thoughtseize Aware Springleaf Drum, which is the main thing I was worried about. Although now we drew a Mistvault Bridge, so I don't know. Let's go Darksteel Citadel, Springleaf Drum, and let's just run out of Memnite. If they want to remove it, that's fine. If not, we can put a Cranial Plating on it and attack next turn, which is something. Blast Zone. Okay. They do remove the Memnite. Alright. We draw a Welding Jar. Mistvault Bridge. Play the Memnite. Play a Cranial Plating. Pass the turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. If I draw a free creature here, I could deal 19 damage to my opponent next turn if they don't interact appropriately. Lily of the Veil, that's annoying. I assume they have to downtick, yeah. We sack the Memnite, and we're basically just hoping to draw a Thought Monitor to get out of this now. Pithing Needle, alright. We can Pithing Needle Lily, that forces them to use Blast Zone to get rid of Needle, because I'm sure this is their only way to get rid of that, and then we can Welding Jar that. And we still have to hope that they don't have Karn the Great Creator. I'm going to leave the Cranial Plating in my hand, because they might roll up the Blast Zone to 2, just give up on Lily, and go after Plating instead. So I'd rather this be by surprise. If they play KGC here, I'll just scoop. Looks like they don't have it yet. Alright. Patchwork Automaton. So now they're definitely going to put Blast Zone on too. Alright. Patchwork time. Go Patchwork Automaton. If they roll up Blast Zone here and then spend their next turn blowing it up on 2, that is so much tempo that it is absolutely fine that we're going to lose something. And I'll just Welding Jar the Patchwork Automaton, use the Cranial Plating from my hand, and hopefully be able to get him out of here. They might have a way to just target the Patchwork with removal too. That'd be annoying. Opponent plays March of Wretched Sorrow. Deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, you gain X life. I will Welding Jar that. They have 2 cards in hand. They could Blast Zone on 1 here, and then Lily Plus, I guess. And that still gets rid of a land that they have, so that's kind of fine. But I definitely need the Patchwork just so I can threaten their life total in this Lily of the Veil. They might have the 5-drop that makes me sacrifice a creature, that'd be annoying. But we'll see. They have another Lily of the Veil. Well, that does nothing. Alright. Alright, we want a free creature or a Thoughtcast effect. That's not either of those things. I'm going to keep the other Cranial Plating in my hand still. We're going to attack this Liliana, because hopefully we can just deal 21 damage to our opponent all at once. But right now they're lining up, activate Blast Zone, get rid of my Needle, downtick, get rid of Patchy. And I'm not having any of that. Should I just go ahead and play the Cranial Plating here too? I don't know. They can't roll up the Blast Zone yet. But if they get rid of Patchwork Automaton, and then roll up the Blast Zone, and then blow it up, then I'm losing 2 Cranial Platings when I don't need to. Yeah, let's just pass. I have plenty of mana for next turn anyway. Cabal Coffers, 1 card in our opponent's hand. They have a shit ton of mana. Well, they actually don't have a shit ton of mana. These just are even. That's kind of funny. So let's see. They have 6 mana. What can they do with it? Do I make them have a removal spell? I think I gotta make them have a removal spell, right? Because I just have lethal. They could blow up Blast Zone on 1 to get out of this by getting rid of the Springleaf Drums and the Pithing Needle for this turn. But that still makes them sack a land, so I think it's worth it. Especially since we've already dealt with 2 Lily of the Veils. So our Pithing Needle's probably not going to be that relevant. Do they have removal for Patchy is my main question. It looks like they don't. Otherwise they would have floated mana with the Coffers. Alright, opponent's at 4. What you got? Opponent taps 4 mana. What could they have this turn that they didn't have last turn? Is the main question. They could KGC, they would have 1 mana left over. That doesn't seem like it would be enough. They have Walking Ballista X2. Alright. So that can chump block for a turn. because they can't resolve the Walking Ballista ability targeting Patchy. We're not going to play the Memnite out. I'll play Memnite second main phase. That doesn't play around a Wrath, but it does play around another Edict effect, and I think it's more likely that they have more Edicts. More Eat Dicks. Let's just pass. What you got, opponent? Opponent has mana positive Cabal Coffers now. Okay. They could play an Archon of Cruelty, maybe? For 8 mana, we sack Memnite. They have to trade their Archon for Patchwork Automaton. Cityscape, a leveler. On a Cranial Plating. Okay. So our opponent's dead. Because this doesn't have haste, right? No, it doesn't. Alright, so we can just put the Cranial Plating onto the Memnite and then attack with both of our creatures and our opponent's dead. So hooray! We got there. And we have a Metallic Rebuke for their 0 cards in hand just in case. Because Patchwork Automaton is exactly a 4/4. Hooray! Alright. See you in game 2. Alright, round 2, we lost the die roll. Although it pains me to mulligan away 3 draw spells against the Gigantha deck, we only have 1 land, so I got a mulligan. Alright, this is reasonable. But what do I want to keep? I'm definitely keeping this hand. I think I get rid of the Sojourner's Companion here, most likely. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Keep as many 2 or 3 for 1s as possible. Opponent plays Verdant Catacombs and fetches. Alright, let's see what they're playing. It's a Blood Crypt. Is it a Jund deck, or are they just playing Verdant Catacombs for fun? They play DRC. Mishra's Bauble Surveils. This might be like the Suicide Zoo deck. It's going to be very aggressive, and it could also just be a more mid-rangey Jund deck. Ornithopter. Alright, so we're playing Saga Springleaf Drum on turn 1. And if they don't Thoughtseize me, I get to make a construct next turn. If not, I'll wait. They're playing Saga, alright. Unfortunately, that means, yep, there's a Thoughtseize effect coming. Alright, so hopefully we draw another 0 drop, that'd be great. Cranial Plating, okay. Let's just go Misfault Bridge, pass. Opponent has Delirium. Their Saga ticks up, they play Overgrown Tomb. Okay. I'm kind of tempted to just Haywire Might away their Saga. Because they're probably going to get one with their Saga. And then that'll hit mine. And I don't want that. So I think I could go float a mana, get Haywire Might, Thoughtcast, and then get rid of your Urza Saga. We draw Ornithopter. Does that change anything? I don't think so, because I think the chance of them having Haywire Might is a little bit too strong for me to be comfortable, and I really want constructs from this Saga. So let's float a mana. Opponent's going to make a construct. Okay. It's a 1/1. We get Haywire Might. We play Urza Saga. Can play Cranial Plating. Thoughtcasts. I could Thought Monitor, but then I don't have the mana for Haywire Might. Should I go ahead and play out Frogmite? Relic is also a nice draw. I'll wait on Froggy, and I'll go ahead and get rid of you. Gains a little bit of life, which is nice. Pass the turn. Alright, let's see what our opponent does here. If they have a Beseiju to get rid of our Saga, at least we still have a Plating to threaten them with. And Relic is going to be decent too against both of these. Opponent plays Ragavan. Attacks for 4. Alright. Opponent has 1 card in hand. I kind of think I need to Relic this turn because the Tarmogoyf is so big. We draw Treasure Vault. I guess I can make the decision at the time then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could Thought Monitor though. Instead. Or I could make a construct. They probably have removal. Let's play Ornithopter, Relic, Frogmite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can get rid of an enchantment to go down a type on Tarmogoyf. 3. If they have removal times 2, that's the worst scenario I would take. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Or I could Thought Monitor, shrink their guys. I think Thought Monitor plus equip Cranial Plating plus shrink their guys is better than making a construct. And we find these, which is nice. Equip you up. And pass. Don't want them to know about the Ginger Brute. If I had a little bit more life or they didn't play out the Tarmogoyf, I think I would have just made a construct there. That's a little bit too sketchy for me. Let's block like so. They at least feigned removal. So I'm just going to let the damage go through and then kill the Tarmogoyf. Alright, cool. What do we want to change? Haywire Might seems very good. We know they have Ragavan, but they also have Wrenn and 6, so Memnite's going to be a little awkward. I think I just cut a Ginger Brute for a Haywire Might. I kind of want another Haywire Might, but I don't know if it's necessary. Like, maybe I could cut a Welding Jar for it. That seems a little bit silly against a Jund deck. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do that. Because they're going to bring in Haywire Mites, and Haywire Mite exiles, so I'm going to bring Haywire Mites in, so they can't tutor for their Haywire Mites, which would be removing my stuff. So it's like a really roundabout Welding Jar. That's my thought process, at least. And then if they want to sink like 2 bolt effects into a 4/4 or something like that, they are welcome to. Hold on. I made a mistake. I needed to bring in Pithing Needle too. That was dumb. That was oops. That was an oops. Because Pithing Needle on Engineered Explosives is going to be very relevant. Also Pithing Needle on Beseiju or Wrenn and 6. I got too excited about Haywire Mite, I forgot about that. So I'll probably cut one of the Haywire Mites for a Needle. I don't really want to cut... I don't really want to cut the Patchwork Automatons, because I think it growing is going to be a little bit too useful. And also the Ward 2, of course. And I definitely don't want to cut any of the draw spells against Jund. Alright, opponent still has Gigantha. We have Patchwork Automaton, 3 lands, Cranial Plating, Crucially Relic. This is a little bit low on the keepable side, but I do think it is keepable. Especially since Tanglepool Bridge means that if we draw a Haywire Mite, we can activate it. Opponent plays Darcy. Alright. Second Patchy. Interesting. Because I have a second Patchwork Automaton, I think I just run out this Relic of Progenitus to try to keep their graveyard under control, at least partially. Because I really don't want them Thought Seizing this away. Opponent plays Verdant Catacombs, fetches, fuck you. Eat the Verdant Catacombs. Gets a Blood Crypt, down to 13. Plays Pirate Spellbomb, okie dokie. Hits us for 1, alright. Relic you. Treasure Vault, Patchwork Automaton. If they want to spend 3 mana to Pirate Spellbomb Patchwork Automaton, they are welcome to. If not, we will punish them for their greed by playing a second Patchwork Automaton and then an Aether Spellbomb next turn. Urza's Saga, that's a little bit scary. They take the turn off to get rid of Patchy, that's fine. We draw Thought Monitor, interesting. They're going to want to make a construct next turn, so I'm just going to go Patchwork Automaton, tapped land, instead of Patchwork and Aether Spellbomb to possibly protect it from a Wrenn and 6. Because I'm fine with them Wrenn and 6 down ticking if it means that they don't make the first construct here, because they will be at least formidable sized. Plays Wooded Foothills, goes down to 14. Plays a Mountain. Casts Unholy Heat, alright. Not making the construct. Next turn I can play Thought Monitor and some amount of other things. Opponent has 3 cards in hand. We draw Ornithopter. Okay. I definitely want the Aether Spellbomb in play, so if they remove Thought Monitor, I can get it back. Let's go ahead and run out the island for that same reason. Draw a couple cards. Interesting. Do I play the other Thought Monitor now or wait for removal? I think it's better to just play it out. We didn't draw Springleaf Drum. That would have been the best possible draw. Play out as much of our hand as possible so they're a little bit less tempted to Thoughtseize us if they happen to have one, because hopefully this Cranial Plating can just close out the game. I wonder what they're going to get with the Urza Saga. Haywire Might doesn't really do it, since we have such a board already. If they get Haywire Might... They're not making a construct. Weird. Alright. I was thinking if they got Haywire Might, we could Ether Spell Bomb away the Might, and then Cranial Plating and equip it. They do get Might, okay. I'd love if they go ahead and use it now. I feel like they're not going to, though. Opponent has 4 cards in hand. They essentially have a green tapped for this Might. They play Engineered Explosives on 0. Well, that doesn't fucking matter since we don't have any constructs. It makes sense why they didn't play any constructs, I guess, but they can get rid of an Ornithopter and a Memnite, I guess. That cost them 2 mana to do that. Alright. Darcy's forced to attack. They play Saga. I'm gonna be greedy, since they have 2 cards in hand. Block like this and pop it pre-combat to see if they try to get enough cards surveilled into the graveyard again. They do not. Opponent taps out for Glissa. What the fuck does Glissa do? And I think they might be dead. First strike, Death Touch. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, choose one. You draw a card and lose 1 life. Destroy target enchantment. Remove up to 3 counters from target permanent. Okay, that's pretty hot with Urza Saga. I have to deal 14 damage, so I need 10 artifacts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright. GG, opponent. Haha. We're the best Urza Saga deck, other than Amulet. Don't pay attention to them. And I'll see you in the next match. Alright, we're playing against a Keruga deck, and we're on the draw. This hand is weird. It's very slow. If it's Keruga, it's gotta be... The most sane pick is that it's an Omnath deck playing Keruga, but it could also be a calibrated Blast deck, even though I haven't seen one of those in a while. My question is, would I keep this 6? And I think I would? This is definitely a land-heavy hand, but I like Thought Monitor a lot, and I like Cranial Plating a lot. And I don't think we're going to be in that much of a rush against the Keruga deck. Let's keep it. It's definitely possible that keeping this hand is a mistake. I probably should be a little bit more greedy and mulligan this away, try to get something a bit faster, but this Chonky boy is just so slow. So hopefully we can capitalize on that. Opponent plays Indatha Triumph, still inconclusive. We draw Frogmite. Okay. Let's just go Misfault Bridge, pass. Opponent untaps, plays Wooded Foothills, cracks it. Going down to 19. Plays Scion of Draco. Okay. We draw Gingerbrute. So I can go Darksteel Citadel, Springleaf Drum, Gingerbrute, Frogmite, but I can't play Thought Monitor after that, so it's not really worth it. Opponent's at 17. The Scion of Draco makes me think that this might be a Blast deck. And if it is a Blast deck, I'd like to be threatening them as quickly as possible. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is it worth just playing out the creatures? I think it might be. I think it might be. Darksteel Citadel, Springleaf Drum, Gingerbrute, Frogmite. That's 3 damage. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The Gingerbrute could give me life if they are playing Blasts. Yeah, let's just do this. Here's the part where they surprise me and just like play a Fury or something like that, and then I'm sad. I could just play out Frogmite because the Gingerbrute can attack either way. Yeah, let's just do that. Hopefully not run into a Fury if they are playing Elementals here. Opponent claps for 4. We go to 16. Opponent plays Overgrown Tomb, goes down to 15. And they have an Atraxa in play, so I think we're dead, but... I'm curious to see what this deck is doing because I don't have a sideboard fully prepared for it. Eldritch Evolution means that there's a decent chance that we bring in a Grafdigger's Cage. Teferi makes me think that Needle's probably good. I definitely want counter spells against them. They put Fury, Floodstrand, and Teferi and touch the Spirit Realm into their hand. Then they passed. Opponent's at 15. Gingerbrute Cranial Plating might actually give us a way to win this. We just have to figure out how to do it right. Cast Thought Monitor. We draw Patchwork Automaton, Springleaf Drum, Memnite. Okay. They're probably going to Fury both of these away. They might also Teferi bounce something. We'll see what happens, though. I don't want to cast out Memnite because of the Patchwork Automaton. Opponent plays a Plains. And attacks for 7. We will not be blocking. They go to 22, we go to 9. We draw Misfault Bridge. They didn't play anything. Let's play Patchwork Automaton. Play Springleaf Drum. Play Memnite. Play Tanglepool Bridge. Pass. We know they don't have bolts. I didn't see any other direct damage. They touch the Spirit Realm Atraxa, that makes sense. They're going to get a shit ton of more cards in their hand. Yup. Fire and Ice, they do have some direct damage. Okay. So if they pick Fire and Ice and then they dead away the Thought Monitor, we're dead. I assume they'll see that line. Alright, so we basically just have to Metallic Rebuke their bullshit so that we can actually get this. They don't have double red mana, crucially. They would... Okay, there's a Fury on Thought Monitor, I assume. Yep, okay. No need to stick around for this one. Alright. Atraxa Evolution, Keruga BS. Let's bring you in, let's bring you in, let's bring you in, because we can also hit Touch the Spirit Realm. That might be relevant. Let's cut. I think we can cut Relic fine, because usually against 4-color decks, the reason that you want Relic is Wrenn and 6 Besage You, and I didn't see any graveyard shenanigans in their deck. We need to cut 4 more things now. Did we see Leyline Binding? Surely they're playing Leyline Binding, right? They're playing Fury, though. We know that for sure. So let's cut at least one Memnite. They didn't see the Gingerbrute, but we might cut it anyway. Let's cut 2 Memnites. Let's cut... Do I want to cut Shadow Spear? They do play some creatures that we might need to trample over or gain life back from, so I don't really want to do that. Let's get rid of Haywire Mite. Let's cut the Gingerbrute. They have enough... It looked like they have enough instant speed interaction that I can't really rely on it. I think the Patchwork Automaton is a bit better of a threat here, at least if we can slam it on turn 2. But the main thing is we need to counter the Eldritch Evolution, because then we can get a 2-for-1, and we can really swing tempo in our favor if our opponent sinks 5 mana into that, and then we spend effectively 1 mana on a Metallic Rebuke and continue attacking them. I will play first. We also did see that they have Elishnorn, which is not super impactful against us, but it can turn off Thought Monitor, and that's pretty annoying. This hand is very similar to the last one. It doesn't have a counter spell, so I think I'm mulligan it, because I really want the Metallic Rebuke. Shit. I'll keep this one. It's possible that it's a little fragile. Let's get rid of Needle, but this also could wind up being a good hand. Opponent's mulliganing to 5. Okay. Maybe the way their deck plays is they just mulligan until they have the Eldritch Evolution combo, or they stop at some point, but they mulligan pretty aggressively for it. That would make sense, I think. I've seen like screenshots of people playing Atraxa decks, but I haven't run into one that was particularly effective yet. Springleaf Drum. Alright, so let's go Memnite, Patchy. They could pay 2 for Fury next turn. Let's just pass to be a little conservative. Opponent gets a Xander's Lounge, untaps. I'm hoping that they just ignore the Patchwork Automaton for a turn. They dead the Memnite. Okay. They play Flooded Strand. We draw Frogmite. Alright, that's great. That means we can play Thought Monitor now. Alright. Patchwork grows. They also didn't play a big ass boy on turn 2, so they don't have the Eldritch Evolution line ready yet. Patchwork grows. Patchwork grows. Casts Thought Monitor. Patchwork grows. We draw Metallic Rebuke. I was gonna say Metallic Rebuke Urza's Saga is our best possible draw, but I think anything plus Metallic Rebuke basically gets us there because of how good of a board we have already. It's at 14, and we pass. It cracks down to 13. We have 11 damage in play. So if they shock this turn and we counter what they're doing, there's a decent chance that we get to win here. With the inclusion of free spells in Modern, you never know for sure, but I'm at least pretty confident. Opponent goes down to 12 with a Flooded Strand. Does not go down to 11, crucially. They play Leyline Binding, that's going to hit Patchy. No. Opponent casts a Solitude. Getting rid of a Touch the Spirit Realm, they only have one card in hand now. They're really fighting for this Patchwork Automaton to go away. I turned that Metallic Rebuke into a 2-for-1 and some life, so I'm perfectly fine with that exchange. Because I'm still killing my opponent in 2 turns. Leyline Binding or not. We draw. Frogmite. Combat. Yeah. I'll go ahead and run out the new Frogmite. It's pretty unlikely that they have Red Card and Fury here, but just in case, I can still do some extra damage. They need 2 pieces of removal to survive, or some way to cheat Atraxa into play right now. Hooray! Alright, let's do that again. Beat them down before they can do a thing, and also hopefully they will mulligan a lot. Sideboard... Yeah, let's just run it back. It's possible I should be cutting Nettle Cyst here, but I don't really know. It is definitely a weird matchup. Either way, since we're going to Game 3, I at least didn't get stomped by the Atraxa shenanigans that happened to me in Game 1, because that would have felt a little bad. They're playing 61 cards, I just noticed that. I don't know if they were playing 61 main deck or not, but they at least cited in 1 extra card, if not. That's kind of funny. What do you guys think of how people are playing off 60 so often in, I guess other formats are doing it to an extent, but Pioneer it makes more sense because Yorion's still around. But since the banning of Yorion, I feel like more people are still playing like 80, 70 something cards, along with like a toolbox. Alright, this is actually a keepable 7. It's not a 7 with like 4 tap lands and 3 spells that might do something. We can play tap land go, probably second tap land go with maybe a Shadow Spear, and then go Urza's Saga and protect our faces. Yeah, let's keep. I wish we had this lined up to where I could Metallic Rebuke on our opponent's turn 3. If I draw a free creature, I will just run it out so I can do that. Along with probably Darksteel Citadel. Frogmite, okay. That does mean that with... it means that we're a little bit closer to casting the Metallic Rebuke when we want to. If they don't play a creature on turn 2, I don't really have to worry about it, I don't think, because I think the Evolution's probably the only way they have to cheat in Atraxa. I hope. They could also just Teferi and turn off our Metallic Rebuke, and that'd be really annoying. Steam Vent's tapped. Alright. No Scion. Thank God. We draw Cranial Plating. I think I still want to play out Misfault Bridge, Shadow Spear here. And just pass. I think there's a decent chance that they go Teferi bounce one of my lands. And that is relatively annoying, but... if they don't, it at least means that we've dealt with these. They just put Keruga into their hand. How nice of them. Alright, they probably have a bunch of like Furies and Solitudes in their hand is the only thing that I could think would make sense here. 1, 2, 3. If I play Urza's Saga, Thoughtcast costs 2 mana, and I kind of want to play that, but I also kind of want to play out the Cranial Plating. Let's play Saga. Yeah, I have to go Cranial Plating because otherwise I can't Metallic Rebuke. So let's just go Plating go. No Force of Vigors, no Force of Vigors, no Force of Vigors, because I will have to rebuke that. Alright, no Force of Vigor, thank God. Opponent plays a tapped Overgrown Tomb, alright. We draw Tanglepool Bridge. I'm going to be playing Darksteel Citadel instead so I can Metallic Rebuke and also make a Construct. But I'm just going to run out of Frogmite before anything, because I feel like they're going to have an answer to the Construct with like a Leyline Binding or a Solitude, and then we can still get in with Frogmite and a Cranial Plating at least. Also, I don't have any big affinity spells that I can't pay for without the Frogmite anyway, so there's not much of a point in keeping it. Looks like a Boseiju might be happening to us. Maybe an ice? Yeah, it's Besage. Can't counter that, but we can make the construct. Luckily, we haven't drawn the island. I've been thinking about adding a second island. I just hate drawing it so much in my opening hand because it slows you down so much if you don't have enough artifacts. I think I just let them binding the construct because the cranial platings are actually much more threatening since I have 2 of those. Opponent untaps. I'd rather Metallic Rebuke something that they play at sorcery speed. It's better tempo that way. I have enough mana to play cranial plating and equip both, but I don't have enough mana to do that and also hold up Metallic Rebuke. So I don't think I'm going to do that yet. Because they could totally have like a Solitude or something. Elesh Norn, fuck you. That's too good. Alright, let's see if they Fury us. I think I am just going to check them for the Solitude now. Since they're tapped out. We draw Nettle Cyst. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's Xaxes. Does our opponent have interaction? Please do not. Hooray! Big ass Frogmite for the win. Alright, I'll see you in game 4, or match 4, I guess. Alright, round 4, we won the die roll, so we're going to take the play. Our opponent's playing an Obosh deck. We have pretty reasonable hand. We can play Nettle Cyst on turn 2 and refuel with Thought Monitor after that, ideally. We're probably playing against mono red, I assume. Technically, you could do other stuff with Obosh, but you don't really see it. Let's keep. Alright, let's just go Darksteel Citadel, Drum, go. Our opponent's probably going to play turn 1 Ragavan, I assume, since they kept 7. But let's see what happens. Den of the Bugbear. No turn 1 Ragavan. Alright, I will accept that. We found Urza's Saga, that's nice to have. Play Saga. Let's play Meme Knight. Let's play Nettle Cyst. It's like we played a Saga on turn 1. It's a 5/5. Yeah, let's just pass and leave the Ornithopter in hand, just in case we need it in a pinch with Springleaf Drum. They could technically like double bolt the Germ, so I don't really want to deal with that. But we'll see what happens. Plays an Arid Mesa, cracks it. Plays Snow-Covered Plains. So they're playing a Boros deck. Interesting. They could have like a Solitude or something like that. 5, 6, 7. What? I have to make the construct first. That's annoying. Alright, let's make the construct and go ahead and make Thought Monitor. For maximum damage here, hopefully. Play Sojourner's Companion. And attack for 9. Looks like it's going through. Alright. Opponent's at 10. What could they have? They Plane Cycle Timeless Dragon. Alright. They're getting a Snow-Covered Plains. Do they have an out? My gut says no. Because we have 2 very large and basically lethal threats. Opponent plays Seasoned Pyromancer. Okay. So they're tapped out. They could still Solitude us. So I don't think I'm gonna just... Alright, they just make 1 blocker. Interesting. And they concede. Okay. We would have drawn Cranial Plating anyway, that's funny. Yeah, so if they continued playing there, I probably would have just made a construct, played a land, gotten Shadow Spear and put it on either the Germ or the construct, doesn't really matter, and just attack with everything. So then they have to have Solitude, and we're also not risking anything by like moving the Nettle Cyst onto Ornithopter or Thought Monitor, so we don't get blown out. Alright, what do we want? We did not see much from their deck. Relic, I don't know. Relic doesn't seem great, but they do have Spyro, so I think I'm going to cut 1. And I assume they have a bunch of Furies. Let's cut Gingerbrute, let's add in 2 Metallic Rebukes. That might be all that I bring in. I want the 1 Relic for Seasoned Pyromancer, I definitely want Shadow Spear. Haywire Mite could be good in a pinch against like Blood Moon, which I assume they have. Aether Spellbomb basically never gets cut, because it can draw extra cards with Thought Monitor. Nettle Cyst was good there. Yeah, let's just do it like that. If there's something else I want to get rid of, I will adjust it in between games. But I think it's a little bit better to just be a little conservative, stay proactive, but have a couple counter spells just in case they have some bullshit for you. We have Thought Monitor, Thoughtcast. They have Obosh still. This hand is bad against Blood Moon, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. And we would be having to mulligan for either the one basic island or a Springleaf Drum if we wanted to care that much about Blood Moon, so I don't think we can really play around it like that. It's also bad if they play Ragavan on turn 1, which I assume they're playing some amount of. But I think it's reasonable since we have the 2 cast effects, so let's keep. When it just plays land go, they might not be playing Ragavan at all. Or they might have cut them, since we do have Memnites in our deck. I don't know if it's necessarily worth cutting Ragavan there, since you can still get in hits by just using removal. Gets a Steam Vents, what? Alright, that makes me think that we don't necessarily have to worry about Blood Moon if they're actually a 3-color deck. Let's play Darksteel Citadel. Let's... Do I play out... I think I'd just play out the Cranial Plating. I could Thought Cast this turn, but I think they probably have a Fury, and I'd have to play out Ornithopter and maybe also Frogmite for that. So I'd like to wait until I can get Thought Monitor Sojourner's Companion down, which would be next turn. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Thought Monitor 7, and then Sojourner's Companion. Opponent? Planecycle's Timeless Dragon. So is this just like a really weird Jeckai midrange deck or something? They could be playing like Stoneblade, I guess, but with Timeless Dragon inexplicably. So let's see, if I play out Ornithopter, does that change my math if they get rid of it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not drastically, and I could hit with the Ornithopter if they do that. If they take time off to get rid of just Ornithopter, I'm fine with it. So I think that's worth it. I'm not using the extra mana for anything right now anyway, so I might as well just pay 2 for Thought Monitor and 1 for Sojourner's Companion if they do get rid of this. And if not, that's great. I can just hit them on top of doing what I was already going to do. Basically, since we know that 3 is an important turn for them, I'd like to mess up what they're doing as much as possible. This looks like Teferi. I thought they were probably going to play Seasoned Pyromancer there. March of Otherworldly Light X3. Well, at least they didn't hit our colored mana there. That would have been annoying. Alright, let's go Treasure Vault, Frogmite, Thought Monitor, draw 2, Frogmite, Sojourner's Companion. This is a lot of Thought Casts, and we're very choked on blue mana right now. Hopefully they don't march away our Tanglepool Bridge, that'd be very annoying. And hopefully one of these Thought Casts can get us like a Springleaf Drum or something. I'm not going to complain about having a lot of draw 2s, it's just that I can't use them very effectively right now. Opponent plays Arid Mesa, goes down to 17. Okay. I assume this is the Timeless Dragon coming back. Could be something else, though. I will just attack for 4 into that. I don't give a fuck. Alright. We drew another Sojourner's Companion. Let's Thoughtcast first. Make sure we have plenty of information. Versus Saga, that's nice. Ether Spellbomb is a nice way to get rid of Timeless Dragon, but I think I'd rather just trade the 4/4 for it, so I can attack with other stuff next turn. And I'm already planning on using the blue mana next turn for other stuff. They're not trading. That's fine by me. Play Saga, play Spellbomb, and pass. Opponent's at 13. If we bounce the Timeless Dragon, we're threatening lethal. They have 5 cards in hand, we draw Thought Monitor. I think they probably have a Solitude in their hand. So I'm just going to play safely and go attack. Well, you know, let's attack with everything. If I Aether Spellbomb here and they Solitude, and they have Solitude, they're forced to Solitude something that isn't our construct, which is nice. What you got, opponent? Looks like a Solitude. Okay. Okay. So we're sort of forcing their hand by doing this, even though it might have been a little bit more ideal to wait for more information or cast one of these instead. That's my reasoning. If you can force your opponent to do something, that's usually a good idea. They're at 8. We're about to make a construct. We can hit them for 8 even without the construct, so they're still in a pinch. And we're about to have a second construct and then probably Springleaf Drum so that we can cast 2 of these next turn. We know we're definitely not getting Ether Spellbomb. Our opponent's deck is interesting. I have no idea what the blue's for, though, still. It could be a decorative Steam Vents. Fable the Mirror Breaker. Okie dokie. We sided out the Haywire Mite, didn't we? We didn't side out the Haywire Mite. Interesting. I could be spiteful. They still have to have a Bolt here. Or similar. Is it worth not getting Springleaf Drum, though? Because Springleaf Drum does help us a lot. So they block the construct. They bolt one of these, they take a bunch. Yeah, let's just get Springleaf Drum. I don't think I care that much about the Fable the Mirror Breaker. Let's go to combat. Attack, 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 attack. They tap a red, they bolt Thought Monitor, makes sense. They block the 9, that also makes sense. They go down to 2. We play a Thought Monitor. We draw some cards. There's the Haywire Might. We play a Thought Cast. We draw some cards. I will just pass. In case they have a Wrath or something unforeseen, we can completely dump our hand again. We already have more than lethal on our opponent. Like, they have 4 cards in hand, and they need 5 removal spells, basically. So they would need, like... Yeah, they can't even cast the Fury and still have mana for other stuff, really. I think we got him. Hopefully. They're tapping the blue again. Are we going to see it's a fairy finally? We do see it's a fairy! That's what the blue's for! It's got to bounce a construct, right? It'd be cool if they bounced the Thought Monitor, though. Okay, yeah, they bounce a construct. Alright, so that was card neutral. They play a land. They have 3 cards in hand. And they scoop! Hooray! Alright, let's see if we can get a 5-0. That'd be really cool with the new list. Alright, final round. Our opponent's on the play. I think this hand is keepable. It's a little weird. I wish we had a second land. If we draw a second land, Urza Springleaf Drum Memnite is really nice. We can also just play and activate Haywire Might on turn 2 if we need to, which could be good. Or play out Patchwork Automaton and start growing it. Since we're on the draw, there's a decent chance we hit a land. Let's keep. Our opponent's mulliganing to 6. They're mulliganing to 5. Maybe we can just luck out and steal a 5-0 here. Arid Mesa cracks, okay. I've definitely played against Magic Tonga before, but I don't remember what they play, if it's the same thing every time or not. Well, looks like I know what it is now, because we're playing against Hammertime. Alright, I'm going to let them draw a card. We got to get this Springleaf Drum down. And I think I ought to go ahead and put Haywire Might into play too. So if I draw land, I could progress my board by playing Patchwork Automaton and then also use Haywire Might to eat something if I need to. When it goes down to 16. Plays a Pure Steel Paladin out. Attacks with Esper Sentinel. I think I block that, because it gets rid of 1 count on the Pure Steel Paladin and I don't have to use a mana to interact with his board. Let's do that. I think I'm fine with that. Alright, we drop Sojourner's Companion, which is a land for next turn. Okay. Let's Artifact Land Cycle. I don't really need the Tanglepole Bridge now since Haywire Might's in the graveyard, so we're going to get Mistvault Bridge. Do I play out the second Memnite? I think I do. This is going to be a little bit of an awkward Patchwork Automaton. It's not super good in this matchup anyway, though, since they're not a removal deck. Alright. In Stoneforge Mystic, I assume getting another Hammer. Cauldron complete, okay. Attacks for 1. We draw Mistvault Bridge. Let's make a construct. Now, what do I want to get? I could get Aether Spellbomb and play a bit more safely, getting rid of Cauldron. Shadow Spear is also decent for that. If I go Springleaf Drum, I can play Thought Monitor this turn and try to get them by surprise with Cranial Plating. Huh. I think I like the Springleaf Drum line better. It makes it a bit more likely that I can keep doing well from here. See, we found another Thought Monitor, that's good. Play Mistvault Bridge, pass. They didn't show us Shadow Spear off of Stoneforge Mystic, otherwise I might have played that differently. So they put Cauldron into play, they draw a card, they get a Germ. They can equip up. Okay. Okay. So they can block with Ornithopter. There's not much of a point in us blocking here either way because we're probably just going to die if we do that. Alright, let's roll the dice. Game 1's really hard against Hammer anyway, so I don't really see much of a problem. Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Opponent's at 16. I can play Frogmite. I can play Cranial Plating. If I leave back Frogmite and 1 Memnite, I can equip Cranial Plating at instant speed. They have to block the Construct. Then I make the Monitor larger. So I should play Monitor first because then I can use Monitor Frogmite for Cranial Plating. Wait, no, I don't have the mana unless I draw an untapped land. Alright. So I have to get 16 damage out of this somehow. Let's see if I can figure it out. Because I think there might be a way. I attack here, 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 here. I have 8 artifacts currently. I need to have 10 artifacts to be able to kill them with the Cranial Plating instant speed equip, right? 10 artifacts plus both of these attacking in. I need 11 artifacts otherwise. Is it possible for me to win by using Cranial Plating at sorcery speed on a Memnite? Because then they have to block the Memnite. They're taking 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I think I might have it. Alright, let's start with Thought Monitor. Unless they have Spell Pierce, of course, that would completely fuck me up. We drew Darksteel Citadel. Play Cranial Plating, no Spell Pierce, no Spell Pierce, no Spell Pierce, no Spell Pierce, no Spell Pierce. Yes! Alright, we got it. Unless they have removal, because they didn't have the Spell Pierce. Attack with everything. That does not have lifelink. They don't have a way to gain life. They block the 13. In case they have like March of Otherworldly Light or some bullshit, I'm going to put it on the Thought Monitor here. Did we get it? First strike damage? Yep. Yes! Alright. We got game 1 against Hammer. Very narrowly. Alright. Metallic Rebukes. Yes. Haywire Mites and Pithing Needle. Yes. Pithing Needle's kind of weird against them. Naming Colossus Hammer is usually what you do. Sometimes it's correct to name Saga if they don't have one, but usually you want to be the one making constructs if both of you are making constructs in a Saga battle, since we just have a higher concentration of artifacts. Let's cut 2 Patchwork Automatons because this isn't the right kind of matchup for that, really. Let's cut 2 Relics because they don't have graveyard stuff. Let's cut Welding Jar because they don't really have removal that isn't exile-based at least, and it usually just fuels their draws off of Esper Sentinel. Let's cut... I like Nettle Cyst. I definitely like Cranial Plating. Let's cut a Ginger Brute and Thoughtcast? Or do I cut 2 Thoughtcasts? I think this is fine. We can try to get in with Flying if there's a board stall. They could play their own Ginger Brute, but then they could also just give it like +10/+10 and then trample with a Shadow Spear, so it doesn't make much of a difference if we block it with 1 Ginger Brute. Alright, this hand has a lot of nothing, so let's mulligan. We like the Haywire Mite, but we didn't have a way to play it, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, we have double Springleaf Drum. Opponent's keeping 6 cards in hand. We're going to keep 6 as well. I think I'd put Froggy on the bottom. I like double Springleaf Drum quite a lot. Yeah, let's do that. I can play Thoughtcast on turn 1. If we draw Urza's Saga, that's fantastic. Play Esper Sentinel, okay. Well, they're definitely going to get to draw a card with that right now. Memnite, Drum, Memnite, Thoughtcast, Urza Saga, Urza Saga, Urza Saga. We found a Haywire Mite. That's not super exciting. They played their Urza Saga. We need more fuel. They play Springleaf Drum. They play Stoneforge Mystic, getting. If it's Kaldra, I keep the Haywire Mite. They get Colossus Hammer. Oh. We found a Pithing Needle that can name Hammer. Then they need Pure Steel Paladin. I think I might now to get rid of any potential Urza Saga constructs that are going to be annoying. If I Needle, they're going to get another draw, and I don't want to give them that yet, though. This is just going to turn into another Hammer eventually anyway, so I feel like I might as well just get rid of it now. And I'm just going to leave the Needle in hand, not attacking. Alright, we need to draw some actual fuel, because other than playing a very cool Thoughtcast on turn 1, we don't have much going on right now. We are ironically kind of flooding out off of a 1-land hand. Inkmoth Nexus, okay, that's a great Pithing Needle target. Looks like they're going to put Kaldra into play here. Yep. So they had the Kaldra already. We need another Haywire Mite or a Spellbomb to get rid of that. They play Sigarda's Aid. Alright, so we need to Needle Inkmoth Nexus because one of their cards in hand is a Hammer. They're going to be threatening us possibly with lethal next turn. Jesus. Still drawing nothing. If we had found a Monitor off of that draw 2, we would be probably doing great right now. But we are running out of steam as it stands. Yeah, they can hit us for 17, so I can't attack here. If they have 2 hammers in their hand, we're dead either way. Looks like they might have 2 hammers in their hand. I'm not going to block with the Memnites. That's 1. Yep. That puts us to 2. Do you have another hammer? Not yet. Alright, got draw. Nope. Okay, scoop. Sad. A sad ending for a double Springleaf Drum hand. We did have Thoughtcast and no real way to close out the game, but double Springleaf Drum, double Memnite's just so good. Alright, let's run it back. Let's run it back, let's run it back. We will take the play. Haywire Might, Metallic Rebuke, Springleaf Drum, Memnite. I'll keep this. I'm gonna run out both of the drums and the Memnite on turn 1 so that I don't give them extra draws if they play Esper Sentinel on turn 1. We still need to find an actual clock like we did last time, so it's sort of a similar problem to last game, but we have a bit more interaction, and I don't really want to mulligan away a relatively decent hand like this. Finding Urza's Saga or Thought Monitor or Thoughtcast into one of those is where we want to be. We are not there yet, though, apparently. All right, let's play Haywire Might. Let's run out Ornithopter in case they play Lavinia and pass. I can Metallic Rebuke something and pay the 1 for Esper Sentinel with it. Wait, can I? Not quite. Almost. Soon I will be able to do that. March of Otherworldly Light. That's fine. I've got mana. Sigarda's Aid, fuck you. They can draw a card, that's fine. Sigarda's Aid is a little bit too important. Alright. New Metallic Rebuke. Alright. Opponent's got 5 cards in hand after they draw for turn. We still have 2 pieces of interaction. Giver of Runes. We'll let that through. I'd rather be countering like Pure Steel Paladin or Stoneforge Mystic here to stop a Kaldra. Sigarda's Aid, again. Still very annoying. Still countering it. Yes. Okay. I guess I should have tapped this and left a Memnite untapped so they don't get the 1 in, but hopefully the 1 damage doesn't matter. They usually do damage in increments of 10 anyway. Alright, 2 cards in our opponent's hand. We draw. Darksteel Citadel. I'm just going to pass. They've seen 2 counterspells. They might think that we're playing a shit ton of counterspells in interaction. They're probably just going to run into it anyway. Pure Steel Paladin. Alright. 1 card in our opponent's hand. They didn't have a hammer yet. We pass. Urza's Saga. Okay. That could close the game out for us. They didn't have a hammer in hand. Let's see if they have removal for the Saga. Or they draw one of those 2 things. They could. They get a Hollowed Fountain going down to 17. Opponent plays a March. Alright. That's very annoying. They play a land. We know they don't have anything. And we definitely don't have anything. I could block with Memnite and Haywire Might here. They can just give protection from colorless, so it doesn't really make sense to do that. I forgot about Giver of Runes, but that is another good Pithing Needle target in this matchup. We draw an island. Let's play Darksteel Citadel, pass the turn. Jesus Christ. Alright, hopefully we can draw something before they draw something. That's basically what... Before they draw 2 things, really, because we have the Haywire Might to protect from 1 of their equipment. Alright. We draw Froggy. That can possibly start getting in at least a little bit. Pass. Opponent has 2 cards in hand. They play a land. They're probably doing the same thing we are and just sandbagging a extra land in hand. Opponent gets in for 2. Okay. Jesus Christ. Let's play out the island instead of the treasure vault. In case we draw a Thought Monitor so I don't have to tap one of my lands for it. And I could still play a land for turn if we draw an Urza's Saga. That plays Gingerbrute. So they're hitting us for 3 a turn now. Alright, this is getting very obnoxious. Surely our deck can draw something that is good. And maybe that also even resolves. Metallic Rebuke, alright. So we can play out the Treasure Vault. Oh my god, if I lose the 5-0 to just not being able to do anything. And just so it's clear, the reason I'm not attacking with Frogmite, they play Springleaf Drum, is because they can just block with Ornithopter or Esper Sentinel and then give it protection from colorless, so there's not really a point. It just basically taps down my Frogmite. And I'm losing in like the slowest and most painful way possible. The Metallic Rebuke doesn't even counter that much anymore because of how much mana both of us have. I think I might pop the Treasure Vault here for 2 tokens. Because that just makes things a little bit easier to pay for. Alright, come on. Oh my god. Okay. I might have to pop this Haywire Mite to just gain some life soon. Jesus Christ. That would feel terrible. Stoneforge Mystic. Okay. I can't counter that anyway. So let's see if they get something that I can counter. They get Colossus Hammer. I can at least eat that. They're going to draw a card, but I can't stop that from happening. Okay. If they play something else this turn, I could counter it. They put the hammer on Gingerbrute, that makes sense. They're forcing my hand with the Haywire Mite. They play another Colossus Hammer. I can't counter that one. This is depressing. That's the worst way to go. Oh my god. Oh my god. Maybe I should have been conserving a little bit more life and just chump blocking earlier in case this specific scenario happened. Oh, he had 3 mana up, so I could have prevented it for a turn. Alright. So I misplayed a little bit. I could have had 1 extra turn at least here. I'm dissatisfied with this last game. Oh my god, that sucked so bad. We got to turn 10, and I couldn't draw shit. I should have learned last game. You have to have some kind of threat. Alright, what were we going to draw is the real question now, because I'm curious. We got our stuff, that's fine. Alright, return to details. What was the top deck? If I had played... well, goddammit. Return to game. There it is. Alright, draw a card. We would have drawn Thoughtcast, we would have drawn... Ornithopter, Ornithopter. Okay, we still would have been dead. At least we still would have been dead. That was a terrible last game. Oh my god, that was painful to play. Alright, let's open up these chests. 4-1, not bad. I'm satisfied with it. Consume the Meek, hell yeah. Lutri, hell yeah. Best companion. The only companion that was balanced well enough, in my opinion, to be actually fun. Alright. Dark Intimations. And Grim Poppet. See if we can get something good out of these last 3 that we got. Not yet. Although Shuyun is a fun companion, commander to play. A little bit extra play points. Worst Toll does not matter. 1 more. Let's see what we get. Alright, nothing very good out of those packs. Either way, it was a ton of fun playing Affinity. That last little bit against Hammer was just really weird. I don't think that would happen normally. Usually you can find either Thought Monitor or Thoughtcast or a second Urza Saga, or even just like a 4-4 in that amount of time. Either way, that was super fun. I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Hey everyone, Shoe Nice again. Well, basically, go subscribe to Tezzey's YouTube channel. And for those who made it to the end of the video, thank you.